This is the AP automation demo. Right here is the workflow for the demo. So I'll go over the workflow a little bit, and then I'll kind of go over the internal structure of what's going on before I hop in. So the way the workflow is kicked off is there is a monitored mailbox. And this monitored mailbox will receive invoices from suppliers. The application has a batch job running in the background that will pick up these emails as they come in, scan the invoices that are attached, and send out an email to the accounting department. So this is where this happens. That's how it started. And then the workflow moves to this composing status. This is where the accounting user will log in and associate PO lines to the received invoice. And depending on whether the associated PO lines are non-stock or stock, they'll either take this two-way route or this three-way route. If it's non-stock, it'll take this two-way route, and this is where they'll go to this approval status. And this is where the other accounting user will have to approve the invoice before it goes to matching. So that's that route. If the PO line is stock, it'll go down this three-way route. It'll have to wait for a receipt to be created in JDE for the PO. Once this receipt is found, it'll go to this three-way match status where matching will occur. So to go into a little more depth about what these matching statuses consist of, you can see they're dark blue. This means that they're automatic statuses. They'll process requests on a batch job that'll run every minute or so. And then once they're processed, all the requests will go through matching, and it'll get a return value of either match or no match. If it's matched, the request just terminates. If it's not a match, then it'll go to this match error status. So that's essentially the workflow overview. I'll kind of go into in a little more depth about the users that I'm using. The test users that I'm using are two users, Vanessa Hudson and Anita Nash, both of which are accounting users. You'll see if requests go to this approval status, if one of the accounting users submits the request, then the other one has to approve it. So that's how the dynamic works in this particular demo. So here is the monitored inbox. As you can see, I've sent a few invoices to this before, but here's a new invoice that I just sent. So it has this invoice PDF as an attachment with all the information on there. And it's an invoice from this business, Aspen Paper Small Business. So the batch job picked up that email, processed the attachment, and it sent out these two emails to both of our accounting users. As you can see, we got two of these. An invoice requires PO line association, so it got sent to Vanessa Hudson and Anita Nash. They get the invoice attached to their email as well, and they can click here to start. So I will log in as Anita Nash and start this process. Okay, as we log in, we're taken directly to the screen where all of the invoice info from the email and that attached PDF is already filled out. And it's all editable, so we can go in and edit any of these fields if we need to. We can add a carrier name, freight handling code, anything we need to do here that might be incorrect. And the supplier number is taken, in this particular demo, it's taken from this subject line. It gets parsed, and if it matches this business name, it'll cross-reference that with our instance of JDE and get the supplier number from the address book. If that couldn't be done, we could always go in and click on this lookup here. And we could type in some keywords to get our address book number. So that's also a way to do it. Yeah, once we verify that all this information is correct, we can click on this Associate PO Lines button at the bottom and add a PO line. And I've already set up some POs in JDE that match with the invoice. Some are non-stock and some are stock. So we'll see both routes of this workflow here. We'll see it go through approval and to the three-way match. So I'll start with a non-stock PO, 5398. Select this and associate the PO lines. And it's in our list of associated lines, so we'll request invoice approval. And so it detects that this is a non-stock line type J. So it'll say that two-way matching is required, and the current status of this request is approval. So it's come from composing, taking this two-way action, and is in this approval status now. So like I said before, the other accounting user needs to approve any of these. So if we look at our mailbox, Vanessa Hudson would have gotten this email. This invoice is awaiting approval. And in the email, they get all the information from the invoice. They get the associated PO lines. So all the information is directly in the email. They can also approve it or deny from the email as well. So we'll go ahead and deny this just to show you that route. And they're taken to a web page where they need to provide a reason for denying the request. So let's just say it was a wrong PO. We'll submit that reason. And the request has been denied, and you may close this window. So we'll go ahead and do that. And as Anita Nash, we would have got an email saying that the invoice request has been denied. And we get that denial reason as well. So if we go back to our application, I'll log back in as Anita Nash. Instead of automatically processing the invoice from this monitored inbox, we can also just drag and drop an invoice into this field here. So I'll actually choose the file, and this is going to be the same invoice that was attached in the email. So we'll scan it, and all the fields are filled out except for the supplier number. This is required to do the matching. So and it didn't show up because we didn't have a subject line to parse, because we were just directly scanning the invoice from this page. So I'll use our lookup. We know that it's an Aspen Paper Company. So we'll click on this supplier number. It automatically fills out this supplier name as well. And we'll associate PO lines again. This time I will plug in the correct PO and request invoice approval again. Log out. And as Vanessa Hudson, we would have gotten an email again. Invoice is awaiting approval. Let's say she reviews the information and it looks all good. So we'll hit approve. And the request has been approved. You may close this window, so we'll do that. And now, since it has been approved, it's reached this two-way matching status where, like I said before, a batch job will come through every minute and process that request and put it through matching. And then we'll have a response either that it was a match or it wasn't a match. So for the time being, we can log into our application as Anita Nash again. And there's some other pages that we can go to here, and that'll show off a little bit. So this first one is a workflow chart where we can generate reports for our workflow. So if I click on our workflow here, the invoice process, It'll generate a report and we'll get this graph back, where the red bars are the expected completion time for each of these statuses, and the blue are the average completion time based on all the workflow requests that have come through. So this is a page that comes standard with any template app that you create in EASYProcess. And through the workflow, you can define these expected completion times, and then it'll automatically generate these average completion times here. And by now, the invoice should have been put through matching, so I'll check her email. And there we go. So as Anita Nash, we got this email. The two-way matching was a success. And we get this document number here, 3625. So I can check this as a voucher in JDE just to show you that it went through. And there it is, 3625, vouchered for the Aspen paper. And we got our invoice number here as well. And it's vouchered for this amount that we put in. Okay, so that is the two-way route. I'll go ahead and show you guys the three-way route as well. So I'll go back to our scan invoice page. We'll choose our invoice and scan it. You know, our supplier number is 4343. Oh, 4343. Automatically fills out that supplier name, and we'll associate PO lines. And this time, we're going to associate it with a stock PO line. So 5401. Take a look at that PO. Looks right, so we'll associate these PO lines. It'll show up in our list of associated POs, request invoice approval, and it sees that it's a stock line that we're trying to match with, so three-way matching is required, and now it's at this waiting for receipt status. So to push it through this status, we're going to have to create a receipt in JDE. So I'll go through that process right now. I'll need to update the status to a receivable status. And receive it as well. Fully receive it. Okay, so now we created the receipt, so it should eventually see that the receipt has been found, and then it'll go through a three-way matching status where another batch job will pick it up and put it through matching. So for the time being, Anita Nash can log into the application, and she can go to this other page, this workflow requests page. And here she can see the statuses of all of the submitted invoices. So the one that she just submitted is still at this waiting for receipt status. You can see the one before went through approval, the two-way match, and was terminated. One before that, we went through approval, and then we clicked on deny. So it was denied. So this is where you can see the records of all of the active statuses here, or all of the active requests. So if we refresh, yeah, you can see it found the receipt, and now it's going through three-way matching. So as this is being picked up from the batch jobs, we can get a live view of what's going on here. I'll keep on refreshing to see when that gets through. We'll know if it's a success or not by checking our email. We'll get an email as Anita once that's done. Oh, it's taking a little bit of a long time here. Yep, and it's at the terminate status now. So if we check our inbox, we should have gotten an email. Yep, three-way matching was a success. And check this document number as well, just to show you that it's there. And the voucher has been created. But yeah, 3626. Yep, and here it is. Essentially the same voucher here, same invoice number, same supplier, but this has been created as well. So yeah, that is the AP automation demo.